Good morning, everybody. Live with Baby Broker to Boss Broker from Zero to Zeros with Cale Pearson, B2B Transportation, and Alan. This is episode 2. How you doing today, Alan?
Pretty good, man. How are you?
Doing good. So most important thing, over the weekend, if you are a college football fan, the Oregon Ducks beat Ohio State, the Ohio State for all you Buckeye fans. So I'm going to be basking in that for a while because that was a huge win. If you follow college football, you saw that there was a lot of Ohio State fans doing this because it was too loud at Autzen Stadium, and going into it, they thought that 60,000 fans was going to be nothing. But epic game, just amazing. But that's not why we're here. But just wanted to share that because we're in Oregon, and that's a big deal. Welcome to the Big Ten, right? So, all right. So, just want to cover a few housekeeping things since that I think is really cool. If you haven't already and you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Really appreciate it. And I want to go over some stuff that we're seeing from the first episodes with Joey, Alan, and Crystal. So all episodes have at least 75 watch hours. One of them has over 100, which is phenomenal. And so we appreciate, you guys tuning in, you guys watching. And if you're finding value, please share it with people in your community, especially in the freight brokerage community, transportation. Another cool thing with that is we're getting a lot of people reaching out to myself, to our quote unquote baby brokers via LinkedIn and some other methods, and just sharing knowledge. And, I love it because that's what I was really hoping to do with this process is spur people on to share and engage with it. So again, thank you guys. Really appreciate that. All of those videos also have at least 400 views. One of them is over 500. So, we just appreciate, Alan and Joey and Crystal putting themselves out there because, this is different and it's new. So we got that out of the way. You guys hit that. Drop in the comments where you're calling in from, logging on from, those sorts of things. And if you have any questions that you want us to hit on today, please let us know. All right. Got all that housekeeping stuff out of the way. So, Alan, 2 weeks in, kind of, just top of your head, what's some thoughts that you have going in through this process?
Good. It's been a good 2 weeks here. I've learned a lot more than the first week, so I think we're ramping things up now in the office, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, definitely. What, looking at this first 2 weeks, how does it compare to any other job that you've started as far as training and what that's looked like for you?
I think there's a lot of guidance, and I think you guys are slowing things down for us so we can take a bigger picture of what's going on behind the scenes and know what we're dealing with. So I think that's important. I think most jobs, they just kind of shove you into the door, not train you properly, where you're almost like asking questions on things you should already know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot to learn in this industry, right? I mean, you just think about all the acronyms that we use. I mean, you probably know what an MC number is now, but MC number, DOT number, MCS 150, FMCSA. I mean, just a million things, and that could, you're just like, I don't even know what that is. So if you don't know what it is, how do you even, initiate a conversation or understand what somebody's telling you? So, so you have your script. Let's just jump right into your script. Let's change it up a little bit here. So, you sent it to me the other day. I really liked it. And all right, so you called me. Hey, this is Cale with Acme Construction.
Hey, this is Alan with B2B Transportation. We specialize in helping businesses like yours ship their products across the country. Do you have a few minutes to chat? I'd love to learn more about your shipping needs and explore on how we might be able to help.
Yeah, I got a few minutes.
Yeah, you do?
Yeah.
Based on what I know about your business, I believe our services could be a good fit. We offer a variety of different shipping solutions designed to help you both save time and money.
What do you know about our business?
I know that you guys are capable of the loads that we are going to offer here within the next 2 weeks. So we're just trying to prepare for that and reach out within the next 2 weeks here.
Okay. Awesome. Hey, we won't go too far, but I thought that was great.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I could tell you're probably reading a little bit, but only because I was tracking your eyes.
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, 2 weeks in, you know, it takes some people months and months to get that. So great job on that. If anybody's listening that has a comment about, you know, what Alan, you know, some different ways to approach that or what you loved about it too. Cause, you know, yeah, I'm trying to change it up how we're doing these calls rather than wait till the end. I threw you in right in the deep water.
It's all good.
So too bad Joey's not in here because he likes that process of being thrown in the deep end. So, so what else, you know, as far as the 2 weeks, have you, you know, what has stood out to you in these last 2 weeks?
We started calling carriers, so that was pretty huge.
Yeah.
Just getting used to having those conversations and knowing what they'll ask, or I don't know, just kind of talking them through.
Yeah. How is that? Do you think, you know, with calling carriers, because that's obviously half of the equation, we have customers and we have carriers. How has that helped you, you know, learn and perfect that pitch? Because, you know, just what you told me, you were really able to be you didn't freeze up. So it tells me you've been practicing. So how do you think that calling carriers has helped you with your pitch?
I think just getting used to being fluid, just getting used to just talking is the most important thing, I think. So, yeah, I think that's basically it. I think having the experience and practicing it, I think the practicing is huge.
Yeah, I would agree. So when you're calling those carriers, what exactly are you asking them?
Well, it depends, because we had the Hardy plant script where I kind of planned it out, or we had help from Steve, but we kind of planned and moved through that with the script and kept calling and tracking on sales dash, which was kind of helpful as well.
Yeah. So we're, you know, obviously we assigned you a territory. You're calling those carriers. What kind of information are you asking them right off the bat when you call them?
Well, at first I introduced myself, just my name and who I work for, and then that we're out of Oregon, because we were calling, because I was mostly focused in Texas, so I was calling carriers around the area, trying to figure out if they would be interested and how many trucks they had. I think we were mostly focused on flatbeds.
Yep.
So I think, yeah, that was me, mostly it. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. So how did you vet these carriers, or how did you find these carriers prior to making these calls?
At first, well, like we started out, well, personally, I started just calling carriers. It didn't really matter what information I had. I just wanted to practice.
Okay. So how did you find those carriers though?
We went on, so it was this board. So we took the location. So I was in Prattville, Alabama for some of it. And we went to different couple sites, like I want to say Truck Stop, My Carrier Packet, and
Probably 411.
Carrier 411 was mostly to vet.
Yeah.
But I could find different carriers around the area if I specified the location. So that was nice, being able to find different resources.
Yeah, right on. Yeah. So we've got, you know, Wayne, you know, he said great sales pitch. So that's awesome.
Thanks, Wayne.
And Susan had a question. So are you looking at making phone calls to customers along with emails to contacts to change up your outreach?
Sorry, you just cut off there.
Oh, okay. It says, are you looking at making phone calls to customers along with emails to contacts to change up your outreach? So it's on the screen there, Susan's question.
Well, yeah, I think that's important, just to follow up with a call or just to get to know them over the phone and talk to them personally, and then reach out through email and follow through that as well.
Yeah. So, because everybody's different, right? Some people answer the phone, some people don't. Some people, I mean, in this industry, we're on the phone and email all day long, but, you know, everybody's a little bit different. So right. I think changing it up, you know, that's one thing that I think is so important in this industry. And when you're marketing your services is that this is all we're constantly thinking about, right? Is finding a customer, finding a carrier, covering that load. And so we think we've reached out to everybody and that they should know exactly who we are. But anybody that's been in sales more than a day knows that you can be reaching out week after week after week, but they still don't know who you are. I mean, it could be months. I mean, I shared in the beginning of this process, like a customer that I had, I think it took me like 8 years or something to get that customer. And they'd asked, where have you been all this time? And I just laughed because it was like, I've been contacting you for 8 years.
Yeah.
So to anybody out there, you just have to fall in love with the process. You have to follow it. And then you just have to continue to reach out and find new and better ways to do that. So kudos to you. So with these carriers, have you found some carriers you think that would match based on our criteria?
Yes, I found some good carriers because once I started kind of putting my stuff on Sales Dash, I had a huge list and I kind of just decided to go through it. So I started inputting my MC numbers into Carrier 411 and started seeing if they even had enough insurance or enough on their insurance for us to cover it.
Mm-hmm.
So I vetted them out by insurance at first. And that was basically it, and looking at their freight guard stuff. So if any of that was a problem, I kind of just tossed it out.
Yeah, that's good. So as far as like using Sales Dash and that, I mean, how do you think that's going to pay dividends for you down the road?
I think when what Sales Dash does is it kind of just automates your contact list. So if you want to send out, I don't know, an email to all the carriers that you've built up on your own list and offer the opportunities, I think you could do that way pretty easily. Mm-hmm. And set up templates. So, I mean, it just kind of streamlines the whole process of reaching out to carriers and hopefully like leads of like future clients. So it makes it pretty easy there.
Yeah. Awesome. And Janet added in that learning more on the vetting here today. I know you're not working with carriers yet, but Crystal's working with carriers and she's learning how to input carriers, how to vet them, how to add them into our system, because really one of the things that we're teaching these new folks and anybody that comes to us is that first line of defense to fraud is with the broker and the person booking that freight and asking the right questions and not just dealing with email, because a lot of times these fraudsters will hide behind email. Just send it, and a sure red flag is they don't negotiate rate. They just say, yeah, send it. And then, it's just minimal. And if it's too easy, you got to be scared and you got to kind of pump the brakes and take a step back. So have you seen any of that in the office as far as with any of our team recently?
Not super often, no, but I did have a couple of guys when I reached out to carriers who were super eager to know details and stuff like that. So I think that was like eye-opening a bit.
Yeah. Well, and that might be a little different because you're reaching out to them mm-hmm. and they're like, hey, yeah, I need freight, because right now a lot of carriers need freight. And so, we're reaching out to them. Whereas if they were calling you and not asking any questions about, weight or what the rate was or any particular details, they're just probably going to turn around and flip that load and double broker it. We actually just had one over the weekend. I don't know if you overheard Steve, where it was a double broker situation. And, the companies were related. They were brothers is what they said, but they were different MC numbers and different DOT numbers. And they showed up and then, I hate filing freight guard reports, but in this instance we did because it was clearly a double broker. And they come back and said, well, it wasn't double broker, it was my brother. It's like, well, we don't know that. We just know that there are two MC numbers. We gave it to one and another one showed up to pick up the load. So that's a double broker. I mean, you can explain it however you want, but it's still a double broker. Did you overhear any of that this morning with Steve?
A little bit, yeah.
So, what's one thing that from your perspective, maybe we're going too slow on, or that we can do a little bit better, or anything like that?
I think we're going at a good pace. I think really getting down to the details and knowing what to do in this, like in certain situations, is important, especially when we have to deal with a lot of fraud. So
Yeah,
yeah.
no doubt. What's looking at the last week, what is something that is like struck a chord with you, or you're like excited about to learn more? Is there anything like that?
I want to start calling out to clients. I think that's huge, but I mean, it's going to take some time, obviously. And I think it's just going to be fun starting to making those connections, building your own list and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
and just learning the process. I think enjoying the process is going to be fun, and being with, especially with a group of 3 who are also almost at the same level, is also pretty helpful. And then, I don't know, you can have some good insights from their views, because we can have similar situations and maybe understand things we don't understand. But yeah, it's nice having them around.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I'm really excited that we were able to hire 3 at the same time, because I think that's just gonna create a better bond. I actually put a post out. I think it was Friday, on this training process, and obviously training's work. It's work for everybody. For you guys, you're learning. We're trying to stuff all this knowledge into your head in a short amount of time without going too fast.
Yeah.
And shout out to Steve. He's been doing a great job on, really being the boots on the ground, with you guys. He's like, there's days he's like, I'm tired. I don't talk this much normally. And so I've been trying to get him to maybe like, hey, 15 minutes of chatting and then go do something. So he's adjusting, as we all are on the fly, learning what works and what doesn't work. So, what do you think as far as working with Steve? What is that? How has that helped you? You think, when you become a broker and start moving freight, how do you think that has helped you?
Yeah, I think working with Steve, he's been easy to approach, and he will answer your questions directly. So, if you have anything in mind, he'll just kind of guide you through it, which is always nice. He's not like micromanaging things as well. So, yeah, he's been great.
Yeah. Well, and the great thing about Steve is, he comes from trucking and then working in several different brokerages. So he understands the trucking piece of it. And I think a lot of times in this industry, people they've never been on the asset side, so they don't understand the struggles that carriers have. And that's one of the things that we're really trying to educate our team on is, a lot of times brokerages, they're really hard on carriers. I've come from an asset-based background. A lot of our folks who are either drivers or owned and operated trucking companies. And so we understand what that business is like. And so more of a partnership mentality, and, having that partnership mentality is going to be so huge, because that's how you get through the challenges that happen. I know we had a couple loads this morning Steve was working on that. People get there and the delivery side, they change it. If we're not compensating those carriers for that wait time or those extra miles, that's going to be an issue. But that's the first thing we said is like, hey, we got to divert. We'll shore up the additional charges, take care of you guys. So it's just really having that relationship and understanding what that inconvenience is, because it's not like we're in a car and we're just going to zip around the corner. It's like you're in a truck, and it's a process. So, as far as you've done a lot of Grant Cardone sales training, you guys are just knocking out of the park on that. So what's something that you picked up in the last week that you think is valuable and that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Recently kind of went over mistakes to avoid in the sales process, which he talks about, like the process. It comes from like all the steps and like how to approach the call and not skipping over steps. And even if the customer or the client comes to you and tries to input, just kind of repeat the same things over and over until you ease your way into a better conversation, and then you actually start connecting with them. So honestly, I kind of took that away and started applying that a bit, trying to get my point across and then adjusting from there. But I think that's been, he's has a bunch of lessons, honestly, and he has a bunch where, I don't know, he's mostly like a like a little mentor in the morning. I just come in, listen to him for a few hours at least. And then, yeah, I think that's about it though.
That's awesome. Have you got on to the live calls they had in the morning as well?
Yes. And it's super interesting. There's a bunch of people who also role play with the guy who's also hosting the thing. And it's kind of cool just listening to that in the background and seeing what other people, how they perform live, and seeing that everyone's almost at the same stage. And not everyone is perfect, and that no one has their perfect script or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we're human. We're not gonna be perfect, right? And that's okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the person on the other end of the phone realizes that. And a lot of times sales gets a bad rap, but it's like, we've all bought something at some point in our life. So, and a lot of times we get a better product or a better experience because of the salesperson that we're dealing with. So it's important to keep that in mind. If you're ever frustrated in sales or feeling like you're not getting anywhere, it's important to just stay the course. Some of the things we've got on our docket that we're going to try to get out to this week is go visit a customer and see a truck actually being loaded, so that you guys can get some eyes on that. Understand maybe some things that we've been to the truck stop a few times already, which is great. But like just seeing that truck being loaded, seeing how that driver has to secure the cargo, depending on what it is. Is he strapping it down? Is he chaining it down? Does he need corner protectors or V-boards? And we kind of talk about all those different things because I feel like you learn so much better by seeing and by doing. I mean, we're not obviously going to be doing, but you're going to be able to see it versus us just telling you about it or seeing a picture. Seeing it live is huge. So you mentioned earlier too that you're picking up golf, and that's a hard thing.
Yeah.
So how do you looking at golf and looking at starting a new job, how are there parallels with what you're doing there? And what's the takeaway?
Same thing. It's about learning the process and the techniques, different techniques to use, especially in golf, right? There's so many different tools like irons and clubs you can use. You just got to learn how to use them at your own way or learn the techniques.
Yeah.
And you only get better by practicing.
Yeah. So that's good. Well, and I think in this business, a lot of times golf is beneficial because a lot of customers golf. So it's nice to be able to take them.
Yeah.
And if you're good, they ask you to golf with them in tournaments. So that's even better. So just want to do a quick plug on freightbrokerdude.com. So I sent out a message this morning on LinkedIn, but we've been working on the website. So now it's great. So it's cataloged based on, whether it's the broker dude, broker babe, trucker dude, or trucker babe. Now, when you go on it, you can just go to the catalog and everything's because we're getting so many products on there. It's like you're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And it was kind of like, okay, there's a lot here. It's probably overwhelming is really what it was. So now if you go there, you hit catalog, drops it down, and you go right to the line that you want. And I mentioned this is something we're doing each show. So 5 people can enter baby50 at checkout for $50 off of an order of $100 or more at freightbrokerdude.com. And one of the things that I share this each episode, but I think it's worth doing because we're giving 10% of those proceeds to sponsor carriers to attend Broker Carrier Summit, which next week, Chad and I, our director of recruiting, are going to be at the event in Dallas-Fort Worth. And we've already had enough sales that we're going to sponsor 2 people for that next event in April. So that's $1,000 that we're putting towards carriers attending that. So we appreciate your support. So if you haven't bought anything, please go there. Know that it's a good cause, and we're actually going to have a lot of merchandise. I put a big order in to have it shipped down there, so hopefully everything arrives in time because I got some of it was already shipped and some of it's not. So I'll deal with that later. But a lot of that we're just going to give away so that people can get familiar with what the merchandise is, how it fits. It's all really high quality material. Kind of a close snob about that stuff and a hat snob. So It's really good stuff. So just appreciate everybody supporting us on that. So, and you can see the hats in the background there for Alan. And then I always have to wrap the shirt, so you can see Broker Dude shirt. So, so he's got the hat. So awesome. Appreciate that, Alan.
Yeah.
So we're already 26 minutes in. What are some other things that you think that would provide value to our listeners? Maybe somebody that is either newer or, in the last year, what are some tips, that they can identify with?
I think just keep pushing, get yourself in the door. I think like with clients, get yourself out there, meet people, and get connected if you really want to move forward with it.
Yeah.
With whatever, right?
Yeah. So Tiffany had a comment about when she came to us from Far West Steel. She did a ride along with one of their drivers. She did the unstrapping and untarping all day long. So it is tiring work, and she has much respect for her carriers and their work. And same here. It's not an easy job, and so we try to do everything we can to make it as easy as possible, or at least be that conduit so that we're solving some of those problems so that they don't become issues out on the road. So thanks for sharing, Tiff. And then Sarah actually, shared that I like the "Why Not You, Why Not" hat. I actually added that to the website as well, because that's kind of what kick-started this process with me, is putting ourselves out there as a company and wanting to grow on social media. And I don't know, that just kind of came to me one day, because I guess one of the things with that for me is that so many people say, "Oh, I can never do that. Oh, the deck is stacked against me. I don't come from money," whatever it is. We all have excuses. So I just say, why not you? Why not now? And I think it's important that we have to have that mindset that we can do anything we want if we put our mind to it and we just put the work in. Right. So carriers, or seeing the carrier get loaded this week, going through your script, what are you looking forward to in this next week that we haven't already chatted about?
So just keep learning. There's so much to learn. There's a lot. So I can't slow down.
Yeah. And Chad says that he's excited to see everyone at the conference. So hopefully we've got some listeners tuning in that are going to be at that Broker Carrier Summit. One of the things we're really close to on our YouTube channel is getting up to 1,000 subscribers. And that growth is, since we started this process, even a couple weeks ago, is really just hit another level. So we appreciate that support. Again, if you haven't, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a follow. We're doing a lot of great things there. Just really appreciate everybody. So I think the things that I'm looking forward to is this week is, pushing you guys a little bit more. Steve talked about, pushing you guys a little bit more aggressively, because I think you are getting a good base knowledge. Obviously leaps and bounds this week versus the first one on the script. And, kudos to you guys. You're just putting in the work, kind of like one of the things that I always talk about is sharpening your axe. You're working on your craft, you're sharpening your axe, and you're getting better at it. So, great job on that, guys.
Thank you.
So I think we're going to kind of wrap this up. We're going to be right at the 30-minute mark, but, tune in Wednesday. We've got Crystal. Friday, we got Joey. Next week's going to look a little bit different because we're going to be traveling to Broker Carrier Summit, so we'll probably just have one episode next week. But that'll just give us more information to share on the next show, which I think is great because, that's really what this process is about, is sharing that information, helping people get better, and just, getting better at the end of the day. So, right. So Janet's asking, what's the discount code again? I got to pop that back up here. So, baby 50. So there's 5 people can use that. So if you got an order that you're going to put in, go ahead and use that. That's huge. So, thanks Janet for asking that. Other than that, Alan, you got any parting words?
We're all good here.
All right. Well, thank you guys. We'll see you on Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. with Crystal, episode 2 for her. and appreciate your support. We'll see you guys then.
Yeah. Thanks, Cale.
Yep. Thank you.